Yes, guys, and welcome back to We Are Tottenham TV for another pre-match pump-up as Tottenham travel to the City Ground to take on Nottingham Forest in the Carabao Cup. We've got plenty to get to. We have Shawnee from Spurs Talk Show joining us tonight, and the other man underneath us needs no introduction. You guys have seen a lot of him on We Are Tottenham TV. It's Brains McLeod, and absolutely everybody loves that fucker. But what I will say, everybody, make sure you stay tuned all the way through to the live watch along. We'll be the live lineups as they come out on this channel, but make sure you stay tuned for the live watch along in the studio and the post-match fan show tonight as well. But we've got a lot to discuss, a lot of theories flying around about the lineup. I'm hearing apparently Harry Kane is not in the starting 11 tonight, which is very, very interesting. But look, Shawnee, as you know, we like to see how people are. How are you today, my friend?
I'm good, Dave. You know why I'm good?
Tell me what.
It's game day! Come on! It's the biggest day of the week. Love it.
Do you know what, Sean? I've got to get an alarm clock with that on it for game days. So as soon as I wake up, that's what I hear, and I'm pumped. Absolutely love that, my man. Brains, how are you keeping, brother?
Not bad. I really got to come up with like a place that I'm from, you know, like Sean from Spurs Talk Show. I got to come up with I'll just stick with Brains McLeod from your mom's house, you know, or from your mom's bedroom. You know? Say it loud, say it proud. If your mom has a child, it's probably called Brains McLeod.
Yeah, nice.
Some sort of tagline. I'm good though. I'm good.
You do hear from somewhere. You hear from Brains Music. There's a music channel on YouTube.
Oh yeah, you can if you like to listen to bars and punchlines and metaphors, multisyllables, all that good stuff, beats. Go and listen to that. But if you're here to hear me rant about Eric Dyer, then you came to the right place.
it's not McLeod, it's MC Loud is what he is. Absolutely love it. We have Torre Hansen, new YouTube member, my man. Big yourself up. Make sure you avail of that membership and get on the post-match fan show and have your say. But guys, let's talk about the Carabao Cup. Where is it on Tottenham's list of priorities? Look, for me, I think it's one we should go for. 3 out of the last 4 times we've reached the semi-finals. We've also got to the final in 2021, and it was the last trophy we delivered at this club back in 2008. So, Sean, where is it on the priorities? And do you think it's one we should go for today?
Yeah, of course. It's right up there on the priorities. You know, I think that for me personally, I'm so desperate for Tottenham to win a trophy, more because it gets that monkey off our back, and more because the people that say that Tottenham have failed for 22 years, I don't agree with that, right? I don't agree with that statement. But those who say we have, that narrative that I find very boring, and very repetitive, it starts to run dry if Tottenham win a Carabao Cup or any cup. So I'm so desperate for us to win a trophy for a multitude of reasons. And I feel like the Carabao Cup is likely one of the, it probably is the easiest way, the method to do it. At the same time, though, Dave, whilst I think that we should take it seriously, I do think that I'm sure we're going to talk about this, but I do think that Nottingham Forest, even though we played them earlier this season and we had a tough-ish game that could have gone either way, we ended up winning. I think that Nottingham Forest, given the state that they're in and the battle that they're facing at the bottom of the table, I think that they're going to, relax their squad today. And I think that if there is a time when Tottenham can try and use some of the other players that we haven't seen too many minutes from or none at all, then today is the time. If we don't see it tonight, I don't know when we're ever going to see it. And so whilst I think we should take it seriously, I do at the same time think that we have to use this and these types of opportunities to try to bleed and bled some of the could-be's. And if any of them take their chance, if any of them get the give, in order to take your chance, you have to be given a chance. If any of them are given their chance, I think that one or two of them might just take it, run with the balls, take that, take the horns and never look back. And we'll talk about who they are in a moment, I'm sure. But that's why I think it's super important that we take it seriously. But at the same time, we need to utilize this for certain other purposes as well.
100%. I couldn't agree more. But look, I think regardless, Shawnee, whatever sort of team we send out there, and I know the names you're talking about, Jedi Spence-tacular, Gil Messi, the 8th wonder of the world, 5th member of the Beatles, and people like that. So for me, I agree with you, and we will get on and talk about them in a minute, but it's all the other senior pros you put in around them that I want to see a performance from today, because for me, I actually think they let us down time and time again over the last few years when they've played these games, and they're actually the reason why they're stopping someone like Harvey White getting minutes today and stuff like that. But Brains, I mean, a trophy's long overdue. It does seem like this is Tottenham's best chance of delivering one. It's 5 games to the final. If we win tonight, the actual next leg will actually be on, I think it's the 21st or the 22nd of December, which means we come back early rather than Boxing Day.
Yeah, and I think there's like a special way if you consider all I want us to do is to have this season is to have successful campaigns, because then that speaks volumes. Like the bantering isn't going to go away if we win one trophy, but if we did well in everything, like if we had a seriously strong season, like no one's talking shit about us. Do you know what I mean? Like when we were up there, the week when we were just like 3rd and then finished top, no one was bantering me as a Spurs fan. No one's like, you know what I mean? It's like, so it's just a case of like making sure, because everyone knows we have Conte, and when things like get cracking with him, like the end of last season, like when things really get going and we're doing well through all the competitions, then I think like we're a force to be reckoned with. Obviously, we need some good things to happen in January. You know, we need some reinforcements, but the tide kind of can turn our way. And then I think like there's actually like a realistic thing that might happen. Like when we got to the final under Jose, like the reason I was so angry with Jose being fired is because I thought there was maybe something could happen here. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like anything can happen in one game. I think if we have like a solid season where we're just trying to do really well, not sitting there going, we're going to win this or win that, but we're just trying to like be the best team we can be, knowing that we're in a rebuild, knowing that we're through a process, you know, but like just trying to get as far as you can, taking the big games. Like this, I do think this is a big game day. Like, because if we go out, it's going to feel like hell. And then it is, we are the laughing stock again. Like, oh my God, Spurs are out of the Carabao. You know, they can't even get to the next round of the Carabao. You know, so it's like, I just want us to get through. I want us to use the Carabao Cup as, I don't think it's like demeaning the competition if we're giving Gil a start. Like,
no, it's not.
Why is he in the club if he can't start games? We're calling for him sometimes to start Prem games. Why 100%. Why can DJ Spence? Why is it not like a foregone conclusion that Spence, Forster, you know, players that why do we buy them then? Like I don't really buy this whole thing. Like they need time. This is the competition that you put them in. You don't put them in like a bad squad. You just take a couple of people that we're tired of seeing, that we know just need a little bit of a rest, and you bring them in and you give them the confidence of guiding Spurs through to the next round. That's a huge thing for them. Like, that's what I want to see us do with this competition.
Yeah. And we should be able to do it. Like, over the last 3-4 years, we have gone out of some competitions early, and it's been embarrassing, some of the teams we've gone out to. And unfortunately, it's the same players that we're seeing starting week in, week out now that are just making rookie errors. And that, look, this is why, Brains, it's not a foregone conclusion that Spence will play today. That someone like Gil Messi will play today. That someone like Papamata Sarr might see a few minutes, because we struggled in these games. We just do not get a good guys performance where you can bring off young lads off the bench and play them. But there is a risk in changing up the lineup tonight. Everton made 11 changes last night and got absolutely slapped up by Bournemouth. Now, in these cup competitions, it is about picking the right lineup, and it is a delicate one to do because you still have to have a good spine in the team, but then fill in players around that and maybe have a point to prove that want minutes. So what does Conte do then today, lads? Does he go with a full-strength lineup? Does he play players that are international players that haven't played many minutes right now to form the spine of the team and fill in youngsters around it? Or does he pick, like, say, for instance, I can't believe I'm going to say this name because he's pissed me off the last few weeks, but looks like, actually, no, I won't. I'll go with Langley, maybe one of Salzburg and Højbjerg. And I was going to say Kane, but Kane's not playing. But what does he do tonight, Sean?
Well, listen, before you drop the news that maybe Harry Kane, I'm not sure if you said it. Did you say it on the stream or did you say it before the stream? I can't remember.
No, I said it on here. I think apparently he's not in the starting 11 tonight. We're waiting.
So I don't know what. Yeah, if he's not in it, then I don't know what the forward line looks like. Richarlison surely won't be starting. I don't think he's quite fit. I mean, I'd be amazed if he is. Anyway, look, here's the team that I wanted to see when I was doing my walk.
Gil and Lucas up front.
Gil, Lucas, and Kulu.
I mean, that's just madness, right? For me, the 11 that I wanted to see was Tanganga on the right side of centre back, Longley in the middle, Ben Davies on the left.
Yeah,
I agree. Sessegnon at left wing back or Perisic, but maybe Sessegnon. On the right, I thought Doherty could come in and have a go. In the middle, I was okay with the idea of Ollie Skip coming in, give him some minutes. I think he deserves a little bit of a chance. He hasn't disappointed. And then alongside him, you could play Bissouma. If you want to go 3-4-3, why not try those two? See how that works out. If he wanted to go 3-5-2, throw in one of either Bentancur or Højbjerg, but not both. And then up the top, if it was going to be a 2, then I wanted to see. I was expecting to see Kane and then one of the other guys. But if I'm entirely honest, what I wanted to see was 3-4-3 with Skippy and Bissouma in the middle, and then I actually wanted to see Brian Hill on the right. And then on the left-hand side, Perisic, and then up front, Harry Kane. But if Harry Kane's not even starting, Dave, then I don't know who you go with. We haven't got a replacement number 9 if Richarlison's out and Harry Kane's being rested. So that if what you're saying is right, then does it mean that Richarlison's fully fit and he's going to start the game? I don't know. I find it all very strange.
Look,
Perisic up front.
Well, he did a good job, mate. He did a good job. On the last time we were on this show, the very last time before the Liverpool game, I asked for a specific 11. I was given the very specific 11 that I wanted. And I thought Perisic actually played more in the 9 than Harry Kane did on the day. And I thought he did a really good job. He could have taken, obviously, the 2 chances he got that they didn't quite come off. He hit the boat, the bar once,
the post and the crossbar.
Yeah. I thought he did a good job in that role. So, but I can't imagine him being in a specific number 9 role. I thought it was okay playing alongside Harry Kane, but to give him the role in and of itself, I think is a little bit weird. So I don't know if Harry Kane's being rested. I don't know.
I think you've got a couple of options there, boys. I think you've got Lucas Moura sort of filled in that role before in previous years, but then you've also got Kulu. And for me, I think Kulu is sort of a bit similar to Kane, similar build, can hold up the ball, win headers, tidy on the ball, can get turned, play people through, can run with the ball. Maybe Kulu. Could you see Kulu playing up there tonight?
Would he start him though? Because Stellini, and I don't know how much you can take, the word of managers and assistant managers in press conferences or pre-pressers, because but he was saying like Kulu isn't ready to start, and
Mm.
that they have to be a little bit careful. And he was saying Richarlison isn't ready either. It's like, bro, who we got then? Are you talking about like a front three of
So do you think
Perisic,
it could be a
Perisic in the
3-5-2?
center?
Well, but
Yeah,
Lucas is still playing. Like Lucas's tendon injury hasn't gone away. It hasn't gone
yeah,
away.
Lucas is injured
He's
as
playing.
well.
He's playing with some level of pain on every day he
Yeah.
trains. He's either got mild pain or heavy pain.
Yeah.
And
I definitely think you're going to see Richarlison and Kulu in the second half. So maybe I can imagine it being like a 3-5-2 in the second half. But like I think maybe they might even start this. Like I'd love to see it like Gil, Lucas, and Perisic as a front three. Perisic in the center, and just those two running
Lucas
around
and
him.
Perisic.
Yeah, just as an interesting because just for the life of me, like I can't think of what else he's going to do if he can't start Richarlison, Kulu, or Kane. Like it's just what do you do? Or have them as a two and Lucas and Gil. But
where did you get the news from that Richarlison wasn't? That Kane wasn't starting. Who told you that?
Well, now, Shawnee, you know better than that.
Okay, well, did it come from a credible source?
Yeah.
Fair enough. Well, we'll find out.
Look, he got it right before. He got it right before, is what I'll say. So
we'll find out in 7 minutes, I guess, right? But
yeah,
I mean,
for the life of me, I can't believe that. But you know,
but then do you think it's a smarter option then to go with 3-5-2 and just play two up top and get back to 3-4-3 against maybe Leeds at the weekend? So that way, if Richarlison isn't fit to start, he won't start. If Kulu isn't fit to start, he won't start. And then you're probably looking at either Perisic and Lucas or Perisic and Gil or vice versa, or Lucas and Gil.
Yeah, I tell you what, if they aren't going to start with Kane or any Richarlison or Kulu, then it loses the option of giving Skip and Sarr minutes in the midfield, because I think they'll have to go with a rock solid R3 starting midfielders, because that's the only way you're gonna. What creativity? What security have you got for the defense? It's a tough one. I agree with Shawnee on the defense. Although I definitely would like to see Spence. I'd love to see Spence get a run out tonight. Like, the thing that I can't stand with, like, I understand that a young player coming in, but he's not that much. Is he younger or is he the same age as Emerson? I don't really buy that.
22. I think Spence is 22. Emerson, I think, is 23, 24.
He's played in this competition. Was it against Arsenal? Didn't he score?
Last year he played against Arsenal and Leicester in this competition, and was man of match in both games nearly.
Yeah, so there you go. So it's like I don't really buy this whole that it's time and that they're doing it for him. That's what Stellini was saying. Is like they're doing it for him, and it's like, oh man, if you weren't an alternate backline, if you weren't gonna play him as maybe a 4, and then having Longley and Tanganga in the center, and then Dyer on the right, because Dyer's actually looked to me way better progressing up the right side than he has anywhere else on the pitch this season. Like whipping in crosses.
This is the thing, though, Brains. It's well and good Dyer doing that, but it's also what else he done against Liverpool that already gave the game away. He done it way too late. Yeah.
I tell you what, he's made 5 or 6 big, like I could list them, but there's definitely 5 or I think it's 6 actually, 6 massive mistakes that have not all led to goals. A couple of, actually 3 of them have been direct mistakes that have been goals, and then the others have been just absolute nuts things. Playing with Eric Dyer in your squad, you're just riding your luck. If you don't lose a goal a game, it's pure luck. It's pure luck. Yeah. And the worst thing about him is that one game he'll just play great, and you're like, oh, he's a great player. And then people ask Conte about like how good he is. He's, oh, world class. And the next game, he's just absolutely shits the bed. And so it's just he has a player for me that I just feel like an absolute mental case. I feel like I'm going absolutely crazy. I speak to other, like I was saying, like I've got a dude in my football team who is a massive Inter fan, and is talking about like that they would swap Bastoni for Dyer. Like, because they're saying like Bastoni's not having a great time, and he's like, we'd take Dyer. I'm like, are you joking?
It's mad how many people that I know that are massive fans of Italian football and who they follow far closer than Tottenham, who would swap like Denzel Dumfries for Emerson Royale. They
Crazy,
swapped
isn't it?
Eric Dyer for Bastoni. Like, it makes you wonder, like, what is it that we're seeing that they're not, and what is it that they're seeing that we don't? You know?
Yeah.
Oh, trust me, when
Terrible.
they have them, if they have the fortunes to be able to have these guys, they'll soon realize they'll come back to you, Sean. They'll be like, please take them back. We'll sell you back half price. Won't be long about sending them back. But look, I actually think Jedi Spence should get a goal. Like, the thing is, Doherty's had a run, right? People praised him for performance against Brighton, but the guy didn't go over the halfway line. If Emerson done that, people would have went absolutely ballistic. Against Everton, he only had 45 minutes of a good game. He was shit against United. But then you have Emerson sent off against Arsenal. Since he's come back, he's been absolutely shit. So for me, what's the point of persisting with one of these guys? Just throw Spence in there. Give the guy a chance. Let's see what he can do. Like, there's a lot of theories flying around about the guy. But I read an article the other day by The Athletic, and they were saying that, you know, everyone's happy with Spence. After training sessions, he puts in extra work and does extra training sessions. People then question us there being an attitude problem with the guy. And from all accounts, from what I'm reading, there's been no attitude problems with the guy whatsoever. People then suggest he's unhappy at Tottenham, Spence. And from what I'm reading, apparently he's not. Apparently he's enjoying being here. So for me, rather than persist with the same guys and getting the same things, like, look, if the guy is in training and he's crossing the ball and it's ending up in Croydon, if he's passing the ball and it's all the way on its way to Ealing, I can understand. You know, I could say, okay, fair enough, you can't put him in there. You can't tell me he's going to do worse than Doherty or Emerson, who, when they pass the ball, you don't know if it's going to find a white shirt or a white shirt. When they cross the ball, it usually fucking goes to the back post or into the keeper's hand. So for me, you can't do any worse.
Yeah, but Dave, it's one of those. Like, you finish every stream that you do with "Come on, you Spurs, in Conte we trust," right? And a lot of people who want to back Conte, the only kind of outstanding, I don't know, like the anomaly to be able to being able to say that in full chest is the fact that he doesn't trust in Spence. We want to see Spence. Spence can't get a minute above players that we've seen time and time again disappoint. And so you have to be one or the other. Like, if you want to be of the "in Conte we trust," you can't question Conte. He's the best manager we've ever had since Bill Nicholson. Then
I disagree. I think you can have a bit of both, because on the opposite side, Sean, people criticize Conte but then say they trust him. So it's a bit of vice versa. Like, you can trust Conte and what he does, but like, you can still question little things that he does. Like, you can, like, you know, a lot of people are questioning Conte. Is he outdated? Is he this? The style of play, this, that, and the other. You can't.
No, but you can question the things that you see. So this is where I disagree, right? If you're like, I'm not someone like. Give me a minute to land on this one, okay? Because it might take 30 seconds. I feel like there's two paradigms in the Tottenham community, at least in the online community. Some people say, like, everything's Daniel Levy's fault, everything's Enoch's fault. Therefore, because we have to push our narrative towards that mindset, we can't question Conte. You have to trust Conte, because if it's not Conte, then who is it next? And therefore, you want 15, 16, 17 managers. At some point, you have to say it's Enoch and Levy. So I understand then. I don't agree with it, but I understand that message. But those people that aren't that fully focused on the Enoch story, they're just looking at Conte and saying, I would love to be able to believe in Conte, but until he backs us, till he signs a new contract, I don't necessarily think I need to get fully behind the Conte narrative. And the reason why I'm not fully behind it is because the style of football that we play, at least in the first half, is absolutely abhorrent. And the fact is that he seems to not trust that Jed Spence. And yet what we see time and time again on the right wing back is absolutely awful, whether it's Doherty or Emerson, or when those two are either unavailable, injured, or just not trusted, that he brings across Sessegnon. And to me, I'll give me 10 more seconds, right? And then, to me, it's a situation where if you want, like, both of them are a little bit full of, you know what, mate? Let me press pause. Let's get to the nitty gritty. We can talk about that at the end. Let me press pause on the whole point I'm making. Let's get to the team sheet.
No worries, my man. Interesting point, though. We'll definitely bring it back up.
I want to get back to it
after we talk about this. So, Fraser Forrester is in goal. So, Luca Reese misses out today. But it does look like Conte wants this cup. He's gone with Doherty at right wing back, Sanchez, Dyer, and Langley across the back three, with Sessegnon at left wing back, with a midfield tree of Skip, Bissouma, and Højbjerg, with Perisic and Kane up front. So that guy got it wrong. He's now 50-50. So I have to see what bit of next and see. Because you know what? Last week he sent me the lineup about an hour early, and it was absolutely spot on of what we got last week. And so I'll have to ask him where he went wrong there. But Perisic and Kane up front. So it seems like a combination that Conte seems to like. Then we've got
very similar formation to what we saw against Liverpool, just different players playing it.
Yeah. You can Reece on the bench, Japhet Tanganga, Emerson Royale, Jedi Spence, Ben Tekers, Papa Matasar, Brian Gil-Messi, Kulusevski, and Richarlison off the bench. So before we get into maybe individual positions and that, looking at this, it looks like Conte wants to go strong, get the job done, hopefully early, and then get players off the bench for minutes.
Yeah, 3-5-2 for sure, and then like second, make it a 3 up top in the second with Kulu and Richarlison for sure.
On the basis of this, look, I'm okay with it. I said in my Tottenham walk this morning or yesterday when I did the review of this game, if he doesn't play Brian Hill or Jed Spence in this game, I think it like you're never going to get a better chance to give these guys 90 minutes or at least 60 minutes, like the majority of the game, because he doesn't make changes in the first half. If he's not doing that, then to me, it paints a tail of the tape that suggests that both of them are not necessary and that those two have been identified to be loaned or sold or whatever in January. The fact that Jed Spence can't get minutes in the cup against the team that he used to play for, to me, tells me Jed Spence, in my opinion, will never play for Tottenham Hotspur this season. He will never start for Tottenham Hotspur this season unless there's chronic injuries to the right side. And that's a real disappointment, in my opinion. That is an absolute... it's abject. It's to me, it shows that he has absolutely no faith. And the point I was making before we got into the team was that fans who either want to back Antonio Conte or want to who aren't happy with him on either level, they have this overhanging issue with we've seen what Tottenham are like in a bunch of different formations. People that want to criticize Antonio Conte for the style of football, they've seen the style of football. The one thing we haven't done is ever really see Jed Spence. And so people that are speculating about Jed Spence saying, why can't we see him? He's clearly the answer. Emerson ain't the answer. Doherty ain't the answer. Sessegnon ain't the answer. Jed Spence is the answer. The difference between that and the people that criticize the style of football that Conte brings out, Dave and Brains, is the fact that we've never seen Jed Spence. He sees Jed Spence every day. And the fact that he refuses to play him, even in games like this, it's either a problem with Conte or it's a problem with Jed Spence. Either Jed Spence isn't the player that we hope and think he is, or Conte has a problem with him because of some other reason. We can speculate on what that is. But for me, no Jed Spence today is a massive disappointment. We are not going to see this kid now. We are not going to see him. In my opinion, he's going to be loaned out or sold potentially, but probably loaned out in January. The rest of the team, I'm okay with. Ollie Skip coming in for Bentancur is absolutely fine with me. Bissouma playing, Højbjerg playing, that's absolutely fine. With Perisic and Kane, it's fine with me. I want to see Richarlison, if he's fit, come and get 20 minutes off the bench, or Kulusevski should needs must. But I think that there's enough quality in that team to get the job done. I haven't seen the Nottingham Forest team yet. Maybe we can bring that up in a minute. And I'm also happy to see Fraser Foster in goal. I want to see what he's capable of as well.
Yeah, I'm excited to see Fraser. Sorry, go on, Brent.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's a really decent team. Like on paper, as Spurs teams most of the time this season always look like really solid teams on paper. But for me, it's like the fanfare that you would have got if you just put Spence instead of Doherty, the feeling you would have got,
the excitement,
fans
the
across
buzz,
the board. Because I know what you're saying, Shawnee. I totally 100% agree as well. But I just feel like in this game, like with all those other players, you would not have been dropping too much. And if it doesn't go well, 25 minutes, even give him the start in 25 minutes. If he looks like he's just, his head's not there, the occasions, even though he's been man of the match twice in this competition at further rounds as well, if he's not,
that was the FA Cup he was in, I think.
Yeah, so pull him off. So my feeling on Conte is, obviously I don't want him to go anywhere. He is in the process, but I think we have to be a little bit realistic with it. I don't hold anyone up as a god. I don't hold anyone. You are as good as tomorrow to me. Like, and obviously people
What have you done for me lately, right, Brian?
Yeah, well, but it's just a case of like, look, Conte wouldn't drop Sonny, even though Sonny was dying and he just needed that respite. He drops him he puts him on the bench, 60 minutes, comes on, hat trick. That's all he had to do. So, but he didn't do it because the fans were cut. In every press conference after, they were saying it. Maybe Sonny needs a rest, and it was driving him nuts. And then eventually, because when you put him, a man with that ego, under the pressure, he's going to go, well, no, I can't make the decision because now I'm doing what you told me. Like, you all want to see Spence. I can't play him. I can't play him. He wasn't my signing. I've had an argument with the club over him. If I play him and he gets man of the match, look at the idiot I look like. Now I have to play him all the time.
Do you think that genuinely that he would rather, like, is that, I love what you're saying there. It's a really interesting take. Who knows whether it's true or not? I agree that he's got a massive ego. Are you actually positing that the reason why he won't play him? Because I was thinking, for me, I was like,
because he's scared to be proved wrong.
Just play him.
Well, here's another.
If he's not ready, and all the fans are saying, "Fucking play him," and you think he's not ready, then put him out there, and then he'll flop, right? Like sink or swim. Throw him in the deep end, and then when he flops, you can say, "See, I told you so." But Brains, you're suggesting that he's saying, "I'm not going to do that because I don't want to be proved wrong."
But here's another take on it. Do you think it's possible? And Posse Dog sent this in. He says, is it possible that Conte didn't want Spence and refuses to play him to show Levy it's my way or the highway?
I think that's what I'm saying. That's Brains' take. Yeah.
And so he can't play him because if he does, and then Spence has a worldie of a game, even if it's the, like then Conte could say, it was a lower opposition or whatever. He might have to play him the next game. He'll feel the pressure. If Spence has a worldie of a game, it shines the light on really what's been going on. That this kid who had so much going for him, who people are so happy, we spent 25 million. The players we could have got for 25 million. We could have got Kavica for 15. He's now worth nearly 100 million. Like 25 million for a player that we are not going to play because of a manager has kind of got overruled by the owner, and now he's kind of like, you know what I mean? It's so 100% agree with that, and it's a shame for me. But that, even saying that, I'm not saying Conte is a cunt or Conte is a dick. Or hey, everyone is fallible. Everyone has their flaws. He is a nutso. He is a maniac. He is a crazy guy. That's why he's so good. That's why he wins. That's why he achieves. And he clearly at the moment, I don't know how, I was going to throw this out to you guys. And Dave, I was thinking about you today, thinking about this question. But when I watched Stellini's press conference, and I've seen it loads in Conte as well, when he talks about, and also Sean, you kind of like read into it probably a little bit further than I did. But this is the question: is like, we know the management team right now, the staff, do not believe in this team. That's not to say that they don't like things. That's not to say that they don't like the players. You can tell they love the boys. You can tell that they're building something. But right now, they have no belief that this team can win anything this season. They've stated on multiple occasions, we are not a team. And then Stellini had I thought he was a little bit better with his translation of Conte's message, was we are not a team that can win anything. There's only two clubs that can come in and say we'll win this. But that's kind of a bigger point of what he maybe should have lent towards saying. But the statement, we are not a team that can win anything, like that might hurt a lot of people. I think that's kind of obvious because we need more time to build the squad that he wants to. He's like pragmatic. You build a team of all Perisic's or all Kanes, all Bentancurs, you win everything. He has not got that. He does not believe. He's playing players.
And listen, he knows better than all of us football, right? He knows football. And listen, to me, this is what I was trying to say before. Like, I feel like a lot of the fans who have agendas or narratives that they like to promote, they like to believe, and then they like to find positivity bias. They like to find information to force that kind of that idea. And when it comes to Conte, whether you like Conte's football or don't, part of that narrative is based on what you've seen. But the thing with Spence is we haven't seen him. Right, we've seen him for like 90 seconds here, a minute and a half there, like 2 minutes there, whatever. And he hasn't really ever done anything that we can really like latch onto and say that's the reason why you have to play him, because he hasn't given the time. And so, look, for me, I don't know. Like, I'm someone whose opinions change, and I've got a very flexible mind when it comes to my opinions, right? But when it comes to Spence, if Conte and Stellini don't think he's ready, Tottenham fans who scream he can't be worse than Emerson or Doherty, we don't know. We just don't know, right?
Here's the thing though, Sean, right? On that situation alone, we've seen longer than Conte and Stellini the frustrations with Emerson and Doherty. The reason why these guys can still continue to still get picked, in my opinion, and not Jed Spence, is because it does come down to a trust issue. Like Doherty, under Conte, he hasn't given Conte as many awful performances as we've seen out of him from a longer period. So in Conte's mind, he's not thinking like a fan. He's not sitting there going, for like me going, fuck's sake, 2 years, same shit, sick of it, fed up of it, bored of it. Conte's looking at it as, okay, he had 6 good games for me at the back end last season when I trusted him, and there's few games that he's played this season. So he's not looking at it as a longer term the way we as fans are. Same with Emerson. When I look at this lineup, I feel a bit deflated. Like, look, I do trust Conte. I understand what he's done. He's got the strongest team possible that he can do to get us through to the next round, because he doesn't want to go out there in the Carabao Cup and have that embarrassment. I'm sure he's looking at it as a trophy that he can win and that he'd like to get it over the line. But I feel a bit deflated in a sense. It would be nice just to freshen things up a little bit after the last month and a half. Give Spence an opportunity. He can't be that catastrophically bad that he's going to cost you this game. Give someone like Gill an opportunity who, when you brought him off the bench in previous games, he's shown more than some of these experienced players. And for me, it's just a little bit of a missed opportunity to maybe freshen things up for this game, to give fans a bit of fresh excitement going into it. You still could have played Dyer, Langley, Sanchez, Session. You still could have played Skip and Basuma. Just add that little bit in it. I wonder, is Jed Spence not playing at the expense because Davinson Sanchez is at right-sided centre-back and he cannot be trusted? I wonder, is that the reason either?
Can I bring up the Nottingham Forest? Because I want to let me hang on 1 second. Let me get back to where are we? Where am I? Let me share my screen with you, right? And I want to compare Nottingham Forest team with the team tonight versus the team. So that's the team tonight, right? And let me get up the team, if you can see it, Dave, there. And let me see the Nottingham Forest team that played in their last Premier League game. I want to compare and contrast to see if they were. Wow. Let's see them against Brentford, right? So, where am I? Here we go. Let me get that onto the next screen. I'm not sure if we can see it. So I'm going to call out, I can't see the Nottingham Forest team tonight, but I'm going to call out the team that drew 2-2 with Brentford, okay? And then tell me if we've got the same team. Henderson in goal. Aurier right back. Aurier right back?
No.
Oh, yeah, no. He's there. Hopefully he carries on with tradition, Johnny.
Okay, so Aurier
is there, yeah.
Cook and McKenna were centre-backs against Brentford?
No,
they're not in. Williams is left back?
No, Renan Loddy's in.
No. Yates, Freuler, and Koyate were midfielders.
Yates is in. Freuler and Koyate aren't.
Gibbs White is in the 10.
No.
Johnson and Emmanuel Dennis were the forwards.
No, you've got Surge and Oweneye or whatever you want to call them.
Okay, so Nottingham Forest have gone from their 8. I know they've got 25 players that are all brand new, but they've gone from their 18. They've literally made, what did you say, 9 changes tonight.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
9 changes against a Tottenham team that is essentially 7 of our starting 11, 8 of our starting 11 are in there. If you're telling me that there's no room for Brian Hill or Jed Spence,
then that's the point there. Look at that. Look at those changes, and yet you're telling me we can't get Jed Spence over Doherty. That's mental. It just
or Tanganga in against Sanchez. We know we've seen Sanchez. We know Sanchez. We know what to expect from Sanchez. When he's concentrating, he's a solid defender. When he's not concentrating, he gives away goals. Right, we haven't seen Tanganga this season at all. And
Yeah.
I know he's had a bit of a very hiccupy start with mixed in injuries and stuff, but under Jose Mourinho, I thought Tanganga started his career with a lot of interesting points to it, and I was excited to see him develop. It hasn't worked out last season, injuries, and under Conte, didn't see him. He's back now. We've seen Sanchez make mistakes. We've seen Eric Dyer make so many costly mistakes. I'm not suggesting that we needed to replace the entire the entire right side of our team. We didn't need to have. In my walk along, I said I would love to see. I know it's experimental, but considering that Nottingham Forest are probably going to switch the whole lot out, I wouldn't mind seeing Tanganga on the right, and or Jed Spence on the right wing back, and or Brian Hill on the right side of the forward line. And instead, we've seen none of the three of them. None of them have come in. The only person that's come into our team tonight, apart from Fraser Foster, is Ollie Skip.
Yeah. This is what I was saying. I just wanted it freshened up a little bit. It's a cup game. I just want to go into it with some renewed energy, some renewed optimism, some renewed, if
you're not going to do it tonight, Dave, when are you going to do it? You're not going to do it against Leeds. And in January, you're going to hopefully make reinforcements. Those guys who didn't play tonight are never going to play for Tottenham.
You're right, Shawnee. It's a decision. It's a decision. They've made a decision. That's it. That's straight up the decision that Spence is gone. Gill is gone. These players are gone. Tanganga, for the love of God, I hope he goes. Turkey, go wherever just to play football because he's a great player. He should have always. I actually, there's so many games that Tanganga's played, and I've thought he's the best defender in the park. I know he's had some tough times, but God, man, that really does my nut in. That a team like this can you know what else it would have renewed, Dave? It would have renewed some options because if they had good games, they would have had more options.
And that's what these cup games can do for your brains. You give players an opportunity, they take it. It gives you options going forward.
Yeah, that is.
That's the thing. If Gill came in and had a good game today, Spence come in and have a good game, Tanganga comes in and has a good game, and you give them that opportunity, all of a sudden, if they take, and it is a big if, but in Carabao Cup games, it's about taking that risk. It is for me. And if they come in and take that opportunity, rather than the next game where you need to rotate going, it has to be Sanchez, Tanganga's in the mix. You can say, no, throw him in. Same with Spence, same with Gill. It just gives you options. And I think it's an opportunity missed. I can understand why Conte's done what he's done. Look, we haven't had a great month and a half. Results have been up and down like a yo-yo. And he's trying to go with players, so-called senior experienced players. Some of them are international players as well. And he just wants to get the job done. No embarrassments, get the win, beat Leeds at the weekend and go into the World Cup off the back of maybe a couple of wins and go in there in a good headspace and a good space and take it on from there. I can understand it. Do I agree with it? I don't. I would have. Look, I do think you might see if we can get the job done. You probably will see Jedi get some minutes. You probably might see Gill get some minutes. But I also agree with Sean. I think it clearly signifies that in January they will all be loaned out. But then does that mean, maybe to flip a positive on it, that we are going to get players in here?
No,
you won't let them go without options coming in.
Well, this is the problem, Dave, and I spoke about this on my watch long today. We already have loaned out 8 players this season. Mm-hmm. There is a maximum loan of 8 players per season, as far as I understand it. I know that in January, they made a rule in January, they said, I'm not sure if this is true, but I'm fairly certain. In January, they said from next season, 8 players maximum loaned out outside of your own league.
Let me ask you this, Sean, just quickly. Is that from your Premier League squad, or does that filter down to the under-23s as well?
I don't know about that. I don't know, but I figured it out. The only 2 players that would be affected either way would be Troy Parrott and Dane Scarlett. Right? Everybody else, right? So you've got Serge Reguilon. You have Joe Rodon. You have Lo Celso, Ndombele, Harry Winks. I went through it earlier on, right? There's already 8 players that have gone out of the club. 2 of them may or may not count for the under-21s, under-23 squads, but 6 of them are already gone.
Winks is on his way back, though, isn't he, for surgery? So hopefully, I think that loan deal could end up coming to an end. So it might free up one space, which is not ideal. It's not enough, but might free
not
up
ideal,
one
right? But the January window is difficult enough in any economy, Last season, like, say what you want about Paratici, whether you think he's a Don or a Con or somewhere in between, he's very good at being able to buy players. He's very bad at being able to sell players, right? He hasn't. I think in my time that I can remember off the top of my head, he sold Cameron Carter-Vickers, he sold Steven Bergwijn. He might have sold Joe Hart. I'm not sure if that counts. I don't even know if he was around when Alderweireld went to the Middle East, but he's maybe sold 2 or 3 players. He's very good at finding players for loan deals. But if you've already maxed out the amount of loan deals, or you're coming close to bridging that threshold, and Tottenham need 3-4 players in January, I'm not even sure if it's going to be a problem this January about finding the money. I think the money might be there, but I think finding the space in the squad, we've already got 25 players. Finding the squad when you've already maxed out the loans, if you can't loan players, you have to sell players. And whether or not Daniel Levy and Paratici are willing to write down those contracts, tear them up, or literally get players off the books and say, just go. Like we did with Serge Aurier, but Serge Aurier was in the last year of his contract. I don't know what Ndombele's got left on his. He's probably still got 2 or 3 years left. I don't know what Harry Winks has got left. Lo Celso isn't going to be sold anywhere. He needs surgery. He's missing out on the World Cup because he needs surgery. So is Harry Winks.
Yeah.
So I don't know how easy it's going to be for Tottenham to be able to buy those 3 or 4 players in January, not because we don't have the money necessarily, but because we don't have the space. And so I think that there's a problem. And we're looking at now Brian Hill and saying, well, if you're not welcome into this team or this squad because you're just not ready, then why keep him here? Loan the guy. If he can't play tonight, he's never going to find the spot in the team this season. So why keep him? Loan him out. But where can you loan him out? I don't even know.
Yeah, you're going to have to sell him now. Yeah.
And the same with Brian Hill as well. I don't know if you can. I don't know what the rules are about that. But for me, it's something we're going to have to figure out and discuss. But the whole thing to me is very strange.
And the crazy thing is that when you say, if you're trying to sell off Tanganga, because he had offers, so he'd probably be quite easy to sell. Like, you've given him no minutes. Like, you could have given him minutes tonight, and then people can see that he's still, like, he's actually playing well. It's just that he couldn't get in this team. But if you're not going to have these players play, how are you going to go and sell Spence now? Sure, he had a bit of a big name last season, but he hasn't played in the Prem. So you're not going to sell him to anyone in the Prem. You're like, where are you going to sell him to? It's all bad management in my view. And whether that's from the top down, it just.
See, we do have to understand though. We are in a. I know people don't want to hear the word, but in a sort of process we had so much deadwood to get rid of that it is taking a lot of time to do it. And if we didn't want them as Tottenham. And look, as Tottenham, sometimes we think, 20 million. Like everyone was saying, 20 million, Harry Winks, no problem. He's a good player. He's a decent player. Who wouldn't want Harry Winks? But turns out nobody wanted him. So it's different for what our idea of a player is and how much value we slap on him and what the football world see. Like, you have to remember, we've got rid of Moussa Sissoko. We've got rid of Serge Aurier. There was Gazaniga to go. There was Jack Clark, Cameron Carter-Vickers. Like, there was a lot of other dead shit that had to go as well. So, like, the ones that I think we've sent out on loan this season, you look at Lo Celso. Look, Villarreal, they were the only ones interested, didn't have the money. The week before they got the loan deal for Lo Celso, they'd done a swap deal with Watford. So the money wasn't there to be able to buy him. But it was important to get him out at all costs. But because teams know we want him gone, of course they're going to come in with a loan deal rather than to buy him. Same as Endon Fadas, same as Harry Winks, same, So for me, I when I look at it, I think
tear out the contracts, Dave, right?
Huh?
We got to tear up the contract. Like if Harry Winks, and same with Dele Alli. I know Dele Alli's now not our problem anymore, right? But we managed to move him out with installments or with factors attached to the contract. But none of those things will ever come true. Yeah, we have to give him away. Yeah, Harry Winks needs to be given as well. I'm never going to ever say anything bad about Harry Winks. Like I don't. He's not good enough at Tottenham Hotspur, but it was never like he didn't try hard. He was the ultimate consummate professional. He worked his socks off. He always was a Tottenham lad. So I wish him well, whatever he does. But if we can't find anyone that wants him, Sampdoria never played him for a single minute, and now he needs surgery on whatever part of his body it is.
How did he get injured on the bench? Yeah. What was he doing? What was he doing? Acrobatics on the bench? What was he warming up, like aggressively warming up on the touchline?
But listen, for me, like there's a new breed of problems coming into the wider variables, right? Liverpool are about to be taken over. The news tonight is that some Dubai company, the Dubai Emirate, maybe the global thing, whatever it is, Dubai Sports, they might want to buy Liverpool. If they want to buy Liverpool, and I've even heard tonight that Manchester United, the Glazers, have also got interest as well. If that's happening, I'd be very surprised if any venture debt or leverage debt was going to come into the English market right now, given the state of the debt market with the interest rates, what they are, the volatility. It doesn't make sense for me to think that there's going to be Americans coming in and buying things on debt. It doesn't make sense. But if the Dubai Emirates come in and buy Liverpool, and if there's any interest from some other party out that way to get hold of Manchester United, Tottenham Hotspur,
choking
for
on the
me,
dust.
I said this on the WhatsApp group earlier. I'm someone that's known as like not Levy out. I'm someone that sometimes references Levy in because I defend against the argument. I'm probably now going to have to reassess and say something like I'm Levy sell, because I don't think that we can compete if the top 7 clubs in the English league, apart from Tottenham, are controlled by either Middle Eastern money, Arabic money, and then the guys that own Chelsea bought the club at $1 billion depreciated asset valuation. And then you've just got Daniel Levy and Enoch and Joe Lewis that are trying to, those guys still value money, right? For them, it's about finding the source of money. For the others, it's about hiding the source of money. Like that's their process. How do we hide the source of the money rather than finding it? For me, I think if we have to shake hands with it and say, you guys need to tear up the contracts of people like Harry Winks and Endon Bele and whoever else, Lo Celso, whoever else, we need to make space. And if you can't find buyers for it, then if you're not prepared to make those difficult decisions in this climate right now, we're going to get left behind. We're going to get left behind.
And I think that's like one of the biggest problems with that is kind of like the end of days scenario when it comes to Conte, because like we're seeing that like they don't really have trust in this team. They don't really believe that this team can do anything like too far, but because they're building towards next season. But the thing is, you get to January and look at the shit show. Like we'll have to tear up contracts just to be able to get players in. Then the next window, like if they're constantly saying, and like how he was getting a little bit angry with the question of why won't you, what do we need? Why won't you play that? It's like if he's basically trying to get across, him and Stellini a couple of times been trying to get across the idea of like, this is a process. If you don't go into the market and compete with the biggest clubs, if you don't just go and buy Milinkovic-Savic right now, you can't win anything. Yeah. That's the bottom line. You will not win. So he's trying to tell the fans, please understand what your club is. Your club is not one of these clubs that can just go in the market and compete with these teams and buy 70, 90, 100 million players and win everything. We're not that club. And then that's the reality of what Sean's saying is, well, now the market that we're competing against,
the two or three clubs that we were competing with and we were struggling anyway, like Liverpool and Manchester United, they got far bigger fan bases, they got far bigger pool, and yet we were somewhat kind of struggling, but we were competing. If those guys get taken over by the sources of money that come from certain regions where they have it's bottomless pits, and to them there's no value for money because they got so much of it. It's about, like I said, it's about hiding what happened to Manchester City. They have shell corporations set up that's coming from the same sources, but they're disguised to look like they're genuine sponsors. If their biggest headache is hiding the source of the funds that comes from the ultimate source, whereas our biggest problem is finding the source of the funds by holding boxing events, you can't compete. And so at this stage, if Liverpool and Manchester United also find that same money going in those directions, Tottenham will be left behind. And there's only 5 spots going forward for Champions League, 4 or 5 spots. And
shopping at Poundland for players. That's where we'll be.
Yeah, if there's 6 or 7 teams now that are all in that ilk, Tottenham have to join. If you can't beat them, join them. It's a sad state. I hate it, but it is what it is. If you want Tottenham to succeed, I feel like we're getting to the point now where maybe Enoch and Daniel Levy, whether you hate them or admire them or somewhere in between, maybe they've taken us as far as they can.
Sean, you just made Brian Daigle a very happy man.
Yeah. I know, but I'm not saying
I'm out there in the Forest Stadium right now, headbutting the seats and everything.
Yeah, but I'm not saying I'm not Levy out because I think they've done a bad job. I think they've done a good job. But I'm just saying maybe it's time for the next generation to come in before it's too late. I'm not sure I'm there yet. We'll see what happens with Liverpool and Man United.
Well, look, interesting discussion today, boys. I've actually really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed the discussion. But we are going to end there so the boys can get the watch along up and running. Jory says, what an all-star lineup. Big up, fellas. I don't know whether you're talking about us.
You're talking about us,
the lineup with Sanchez in it, Jory.
I like that comment that said an Englishman, an Irishman, a Scotsman.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I'd say there's so many jokes being flying around in WhatsApp about us right now. It's unbelievable. Gary, big yourself up, my man, and I really appreciate the support.
Oh, what's your score lines?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that now in 1 second. Don't worry about that, Brainsy boy. Hopefully everybody has enjoyed the pre-match build-up today. I hope you really enjoyed the discussions. I know some of it went a bit off the game, but being honest, for Carabao Cup, it is hard to find enough talking points to fill the whole time. So we found other ways to do it, which is absolutely brilliant. But Shawnee, my man, score prediction, and where can people find you?
Yeah, given the team we put out there, I think it's an unnecessarily strong team. And given the Nottingham Forest side, I think we're going to put 3 past them. I'm going to say 3-0 Tottenham. And you guys can find me at the Spurs Talk Show. Spurs Talk Show, all one word, on YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter. YouTube's my mainstay. So come and find me over there, guys. And yeah, I do morning walks. I thought I had my internet fixed because I haven't done any live streams for a while, but apparently it's still struggling. But Spurs Talk Show is where you can find me. Appreciate you all.
100%. We'll definitely have to roll out this panel again sometime. I've actually really enjoyed it today. It's been a really good discussion. Brains, what's your score prediction and where can people find you, my man?
Shawnee just stole my score prediction, but I'm going to go because I genuinely do think that we probably will concede a goal. So I'm going to go either 3-1 or 4-1. But I think 3-1.
Love it. Love it. Do you know what? For me, yeah, I said 3-1 earlier. I'm going to stick with my score prediction on 3-1. I do think Forest will probably more than likely score. We haven't kept a clean sheet in quite some time. Hopefully, I will say, hopefully we're not going into halftime losing. I will not be able to take another one of them. I can't do it. But I do think we should have more than enough to be able to go and get the goals. Hopefully, we can get them. Actually, could be in for 3. Hopefully, Kane and Perisic can bag a few early and then get Gil Messi off the bench and maybe add another couple. But we're going to, and you can find me over at the Irish Hotspur as well. We're 44 away. I'm not counting or anything like that, but we're exactly 44 away from reaching 8.5k. So if there is a few that maybe feel sorry for this little Irish loser, get over there and smash that subscribe button and help me out and let me get to 8.5k. That'd be absolutely awesome. But guys, we're going to leave it there. It's time for us to get into our overalls, get the wellies on, sharpen the axes, because we are going to chop down the Forest. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
Come on, Tottenham.
Come on, you Spurs.